On September 21st, 2008, user Pokemon Platinum Bug posted a video on YouTube of them playing the Japanese version of Pokemon Platinum, falling victim to a glitch that forces them into an endless loop of battling an Ace Trainer over and over again. Since it was posted, this video has accumulated over 600,000 views. Various community wikis have dubbed this the Ace Trainer Battle Loop glitch or the Ace Trainer Deanna glitch, triggered simply by walking into her site. But here's the thing, it's not a real glitch. There is literally no other evidence of this glitch anywhere after 16 years. I talked to multiple Gen 4 experts about this glitch and everyone knew it as that one Japanese exclusive glitch, but no one has ever actually recreated it or seen proof that wasn't this one specific video. What on earth is going on here? Is this just one big 16-year-long hoax? I needed answers. So I spent way too much time investigating this glitch, and I ended up going down a never-ending rabbit hole of Japanese blogs, cheating, and piracy. Let's get into it. Quick context for those who don't have every route and trainer memorized. This is Ace Trainer Shoko, or Ace Trainer Deanna if you're playing on an English copy. In Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, you can battle her on Route 225, which you can only access after becoming champion and unlocking the national dex. Battling Ace Trainer Shoko is completely optional. You can just go one tile higher before entering her vision and she won't battle you. Okay, with that out of the way, let's talk about this glitch. I tried literally everything to recreate it, spending hours and hours just battling this trainer under different circumstances over and over again to see if it would happen. I even tried naming the Machamp Ponyo like in the original video, but nothing worked. After failing to recreate the glitch, I combed through everything I could online. On the same day the YouTube video was posted, the video was uploaded by presumably the same user on the Japanese video sharing site Nico Nico. The video is no longer accessible there, but archive.org's Wayback Machine has a few snapshots of the webpage over the years. On October 1st, 2008, the description for the video was as follows. A glitch where Ace Trainer Shoko will keep fighting you over and over when you beat her. Bug reports are scarce for this glitch. I don't know why this happens. Sometime between then and February 11th, 2009, it updated to the same description that the YouTube video currently has, which translates to, it seems that this happens if your playtime is less than 35 hours. A glitch where Ace Trainer Shoko will keep fighting you over and over after you beat her. The video description mentions the glitch only happening if your save file has less than 35 hours of playtime. It's hard to say for sure, but the likely basis for this claim is a now deleted YouTube comment that I found on the Wayback Machine. This happens if your playtime is under 35 hours. A few days later, the same commenter replied, added note, if you've hacked the game, there's a 40% chance of glitching regardless of playtime. It seems like it glitches under 35 hours of playtime to prevent hacks. This is complete nonsense. Pokemon Platinum does not work like that, and there's no playtime related hack detection in these games. That's just absurd for a multitude of reasons. To prove it, not only did I get to Ace Trainer Shoko before the 35-hour mark, but I streamed a speedrun going from a fresh file to this trainer in under 5 hours. I even rigged the file to go straight to them right after getting my starter Pokemon, but no dice. The Nico Nico description remained unchanged for a long time, until something peculiar happened. Sometime between 2011 and 2021, the video's title and description were changed to a single period. Why would this happen? I thought that maybe you couldn't delete your own videos on Nico Nico in the past, but that doesn't seem to be the case. For whatever reason, the poster didn't want to take down the video, but did want it to be unsearchable. Eventually, the video and/or account did get deleted, so it's no longer viewable on Nico Nico. Unfortunately, this means the Nico Nico comments are gone forever, and the Japanese comments on YouTube don't provide any useful information. The YouTube video is still up and unchanged, but it was a throwaway account. They likely lost access to it at some point or just forgot about it. But why would they want to delete their own video? Was there something wrong with it? I couldn't think of a good answer at the time, so I kept digging. Next, I decided to check for any official acknowledgement from Nintendo or Game Freak. Diamond and Pearl actually had patches put out by Game Freak to fix two void entry methods, namely surfing on the door in the Elite Four and while entering the Union Room. Both Nintendo and Game Freak put out full notices online to both address how these glitches happen and give possible solutions. Later releases of Diamond and Pearl, aka revisions, came with fixes for these bugs. To patch your games, you would either mail them in or go to one of the many in-person DS stations and download the patch directly to your game. Downloading this patch would not only correct the glitch, but also teleport you back home in case you were stuck somewhere in the void. In comparison, there was never any official acknowledgement of the Ace Trainer Shoko glitch. Japanese Platinum never got a revised release or patch of any kind. Obviously, the Ace Trainer Shoko glitch doesn't have the potential to lock your progress the same way the Diamond and Pearl ones do, so maybe that's why it was never acknowledged. However, if this was a common glitch, you'd think they would still offer a patch to fix this so players would not get stuck in a death loop. Given how easy it was for them to patch Diamond and Pearl, it's surprising they didn't patch Platinum, potential evidence that it wasn't a real glitch. This is a little flimsy as evidence since Game Freak didn't address tweaking or the myriad of other Gen 4 glitches. But my point is that if this was a widespread frustrating issue, it probably would have been addressed since they had the systems in place to do so. Even North American Platinum got a revised release to fix an issue with the GTS not displaying things properly, which is arguably less game-breaking than an infinite battle loop. The next step for my research was to look up all discussions related to this glitch. I found multiple Japanese blogs that shared the YouTube video. The blog posts themselves didn't share much info, but the comments were enlightening. Not a glitch, just a hack. ROM hack player, GG. Modded gameplay, lamau. Bet they don't have any more Pokemon stuff to show anyways, lol. So this is what happens if you try to get the game for free. I remember some guy who got a Dragon Quest V bootleg of the story softlocked too. Didn't happen to my copy. Maybe it's an anti-piracy measure? Don't tell me you all think this is actually a glitch and not just a video edit. Just tried it myself, but that glitch didn't happen for me. All of these comments suggest no one being able to actually recreate this glitch, so they all assume it's the result of piracy or modifications. And to be clear, I don't think this is an actual anti-piracy feature. There's no evidence of this being the case. It's probably not a video edit either, it looks legit, and the Machamp's experience bar lines up with just replaying the fight over and over again. It doesn't seem to be playing on an emulator either. And remember, all of this is on top of the fact that we have no other evidence of it. If you look up any other notable Gen 4 glitch, you'll find multiple images or videos documenting them, or at the very least text posts about players experiencing them. Diamond and Pearl's friendship underflow glitch has multiple videos on it made in the last few years alone. Like I said earlier, every post about the Shoko glitch online references this video and nothing else. Honestly, it's a very funny and weird glitch. That's why this video has 600,000 views in the first place. Content creators should be falling over themselves recreating this to include in glitch compilation videos, but none have done so. Looking at the facts, it's pretty easy to conclude that this was likely a hoax and not a naturally occurring glitch. Okay, that's going to be it for this video. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and nah, just kidding. You clicked on one of this guy's videos, so we still have to go through technical explanations of poorly documented things. Analyzing these factors wasn't good enough for me. I needed to scientifically prove that this glitch could not happen under normal circumstances. More importantly, I wanted to recreate the glitch on my own to figure out what the user might have done to experience this glitch. Were they intentionally trying to mislead the public, or was it a sincere attempt to spread awareness of a glitch happening in their game? In order to dig deeper, we need to answer the question of how this glitch could happen. Okay, so how does the game know if you've battled a trainer? Simply put, every trainer has a flag assigned to them that can either be on or off. When you start the game, every trainer's flag is set to the off position. When you battle a trainer and win, their flag gets set to the on position. Once the trainer flag is on, the battle will no longer trigger when you enter their site. In order for this glitch to happen specifically to Shoko and no other trainer, her trainer flag must not be set after winning. Or it is being set correctly and then just immediately unset. This has to happen while the game is running, so it can't be the result of messed up save data. Thanks to modder refined plat, I can show you what this glitch looks like in quality greater than potato for the first time. In this footage, we rigged the game such that every trainer flag is not being set properly after winning a battle. Upon exiting the battle with Shoko, we immediately trigger the fight again in an identical fashion to the 16-year-old YouTube video. So to summarize, if this glitch is real, the best explanation is something in the game overriding this trainer's victory flag multiple times or preventing it from being set. There's just one problem. There isn't a way for this to happen naturally. The common theory I saw was that Game Freak simply forgot to set the "you battled this trainer" flag for Shoko, but that can't be the case. Going off of decompiled scripts, we know that Shoko uses the same battle script as any other regular trainer. Yes, whether it's the first trainer on Route 202 or the spinning freak on Route 217. They all use the same script to initiate and resolve battles with the player. The only variable in this script is the trainer ID the game uses to set the correct trainer battle, music, and of course the trainer flag. If this glitch was real, it could theoretically happen to any other normal trainer in the game. However, no evidence of this exists. The only evidence we have is this one video of it happening with Ace Trainer Shoko. Critically, I need to point out that both Shoko's internal trainer ID and all of the code involved in activating and resolving this battle are completely unchanged across multiple games. In the Japanese release of Pokémon Platinum, international releases of Pokémon Platinum, and all Diamond and Pearl releases, everything involved in this process is identical. So, the glitch should be possible on my North American copy of Platinum, or any copy of Diamond and Pearl, but it's never been reported outside of this one instance. I thought maybe it was just something else in the game that is specifically overriding Ace Trainer Shoko's flag, but this also isn't possible through normal gameplay. Gen 4's flagging system is very deliberate, and we obviously didn't have stuff like arbitrary code execution a few days after the game's release. So how else could the player activate this never-ending battle loop? I thought back to the Japanese blog comments I read, and decided to look into possible modifications that would create this glitch. But how could you modify a DS back in 2008? When I was a kid, there was one thing I wanted more than anything else in the world to aid with my Pokémon adventures. I desperately needed to catch Darkrai Arceus in Diamond and Pearl, but young me could never glitch into the void. My only solution back then was an action replay. I'm sure most of you are familiar with these, but for those who aren't, action replays are hex-based cheating devices that allow you to get things like 999 Master Balls or activate special events in-game. The packaging features beloved Pokemon such as Poplup, Pilkia, Dialga got a really long horn, and oh my god, what is that? Get it away. So is there just some action replay code that lets you battle trainers over and over again? Was the poster just pulling a prank on us? To investigate, I had to learn how action replay codes work and ended up making my own. At the end of the day, all an action replay does is change values at locations in memory. Forcing this glitch behavior is just a matter of finding the memory address for Ace Trainer Shoko's flag, then constantly setting it to the off position. Here's what the code I made looks like, a simple one-liner. This code sets the value at this memory address to 0. Running this code on my copy of Pokemon Platinum, I get the same glitch as the video. Mystery solved, right? Well, there's one problem with this code. It basically never works. Every time you reset the game loads all flags from the save data into different locations in memory. So even if a code works once, it doesn't mean it'll work again until you randomly get that same flag in the same location in memory. This means that it's entirely possible that someone made a code to change a different flag in the game, gave it to the video poster, then they loaded up the code and it overrode Shoko's flag instead. There's also the issue of the flag values. I described it as an on and off thing earlier, which is accurate, but it is a bit more complex than that. To keep it brief, the flag can be any value between 0 and 255. Half of the values correspond to off, meaning that you can battle the trainer, and half correspond to on, meaning you've already battled them. These on and off values aren't simply the first half and second half of the available numbers. For example, for Ace Trainer Shoko's flag, these are the on values, and these are the off values. I say Shoko specifically because which values correspond to on or off vary by flag. So just because 126 is on for Shoko, it could be off for some other trainer. Why does this matter? This makes it substantially harder to accidentally make a code that creates this battle loop glitch. If your code assigns a value to a flag that the game doesn't like, the game will kick you back out to the title screen when you try to start it. The only value that seems to consistently not have this side effect is 0. So realistically, if someone did try to use an action replay to intentionally create this side effect, they would have to use a code like I did and get lucky with resetting the right address, which is incredibly unlikely, or they would use a longer code that set multiple addresses to 0. They technically could have made a code that handles the changing memory location correctly, but that's time-consuming and tricky. I found a fantastic Reddit post that fully describes the process of making a code that can do so, and I doubt this was easy to do back in 2008, especially given that they posted this video 8 days after release. I did find some Japanese codes that might stabilize the position of the flags, but I wasn't able to confirm if they work, and I doubt they were known so soon after release. Nonetheless, it was possible if the user was knowledgeable and dedicated enough. Also, if you've used an action replay before, you know just how easy it is to freeze your game or corrupt the save. Having multiple different codes active at once increases the odds of undesired behavior or improperly set flags. It's possible this user simply turned on too many codes at once, and that specific combination of codes caused this side effect of this flag at this specific memory address to always be set to off. This is initially where I stopped my action replay research, but a few days before this video went up, I had a feeling that I was missing something. I went back and spent a ton of time looking at action replay codes posted online for all Gen 4 games in both English and Japanese. After a bunch of digging, I found some codes for rebattling trainers by talking to them, but that wasn't exactly what I was looking for. I continued going through these surprisingly thorough and seemingly never-ending Japanese blogs filled with action replay codes, and eventually, I stumbled upon a code that I hadn't seen mentioned on English sites. This code completely prevents trainers from spotting you to initiate battle, so if you walk in front of a trainer you haven't battled before, they'll just ignore you. I realized that this is effectively the opposite of what happens in the glitch video, and decided to experiment with it. Let's break this code down really quickly. It's doing a 16-bit write, writing this value to this address in memory. I'll keep it brief, but this code is actually doing more than it needs to. The only part that actually matters is the E0 part, because the 08 part is always 08, regardless of action replay shenanigans. So you can rewrite the code as such. Basically, the value at this address messes with the way trainers initiate battle when you're in their vision. And when changed from its default value of D1 to E0, it prevents them from trying to battle you. This trainer vision address doesn't move at all between resets like flags do. This code will just always work. What happens if we change the value from E0 to anything else, let's say 0? Holy sh! We get the exact behavior shown in the video. I did a ton of testing and found that the majority of possible values lead to the same effect. All the player has to do is turn on a code that accidentally overrides this value at this address, and they'll get stuck in an infinite battle loop with any given trainer. A small typo or bad code could have easily led to this behavior. Okay, now mystery solved, right? Well, if you believe that this was an intentional attempt at deceiving all of us, then I think this is the most likely answer. If you believe that the user was being genuine, realistically, they would have realized that this was happening with every trainer in the game, and not just Shoko. In this not a hoax scenario, it's more likely that they were specifically overriding Shoko's trainer flag as I described earlier. But again, that's incredibly hard to do if you're not going out of your way to make it happen. I feel more confused than I did going into this. Let's assume that this user earnestly thought that this was a real glitch. They surely would have tried disabling their action replay before posting the video on multiple websites, right? So if not by action replay, how else could this glitch have happened? Going back to the Japanese blog commenters again, they mostly imply that this glitch behavior is the result of piracy. Quick disclaimer so Nintendo doesn't zap my channel. I am not endorsing piracy in any way, I just have to cover all of this stuff to be thorough. If anything, I am defending your honor of this slanderous fake glitch, so you're welcome. The R4 or Revolution for DS was released in 2007. This flash cartridge allowed users to load Nintendo DS ROMs onto a micro SD card, which then gets inserted into the R4. Basically, users can download ROMs of games online, then play them on their Nintendo DS systems with the R4. Notably, R4 cartridges come with the action replay functionality built in. While it's impossible to miss your action replay being attached to your DS, it's extremely easy to miss codes being on for your game using an R4. This fact gives a little more credence to our action replay theories. They might have had multiple unrelated codes on and forgotten about them, and these codes accidentally caused the infinite battle loop. But again, let's assume they were wise enough to turn off any cheats. R4s caused Nintendo DS piracy to become fairly rampant. Nintendo said that due to DS piracy, sales of its DS software plummeted in Europe and some other markets by 45% in 2009, compared to the previous year. Japan didn't outlaw the sale of R4 cartridges until 2009, and furthermore didn't ban importing them until 2012. So, given that Nintendo DS piracy was common at the time, there is a possibility that the video poster was playing on a pirated copy of Pokémon Platinum on an R4 cartridge. Why does this matter for the glitch? If there wasn't some secret anti-piracy measure programmed into the game, what could be the cause? Realistically, this glitch could have been the result of the R4 or micro SD card failing in some way. I've talked to multiple people who have experienced bizarre file corruption and even bit flips while playing Pokémon on a flash cart. Bit flips meaning literally a bit changing from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0. All it would take for this glitch to occur is Shoko's flag or the memory address that deals with the trainer vision getting flipped. To give some examples, in the Glitch City Research Institute Discord, Frosted Galazia mentioned that, quote, "We had someone before here report their dump of Japanese diamond got corrupted pretty hard while on a flash cart. And even though the game would boot, no text would render and the game would crash soon after anyways. Upon closer inspection, nearly half of the file system was corrupted. I've also experienced older, lower capacity SD cards corrupting themselves, with some areas being completely wiped, and others experiencing bit flips. I've also seen lots of weird reports of unexpected behavior on an R4, such as the screen remaining black trying to open the town map, or the game corrupting your save data every time you open it. I, like many of you I'm sure, have experienced my fair share of microSD card failures and corruptions over the years. It's super easy to unknowingly corrupt an SD card. Improper ejections from the R4 card, power failures, physical damage, and more can all cause SD card corruption. If the SD card was fine and it was an R4 specific issue, the glitch could be replicated on a particular R4 on a specific firmware version. Compatibility issues used to be a lot more common with the R4. One of them being this error that would show up in tons of different games. Resolving this error involved either using newer R4 firmware or literally using software to take the ROM apart, replace a file, and then rebuild it. I had a friend test the original R4 with every version of the firmware that they possibly could find, and they failed to recreate the battle loop glitch. I wasn't interested in spending a ton of money on all of the different R4 variants that existed at the time just to maybe learn something, so I stopped there. Ultimately, there are a million ways that a game ROM could get messed up on an R4, and trying to specifically recreate this one issue via SD card corruption is unrealistic. Okay, so to summarize, the Ace Trainer Shoko glitch shown in this video is not a naturally occurring glitch. It's likely the result of action replay codes or piracy. I was able to recreate it in 2 different ways with an action replay, but the specific circumstances required make it unlikely to be how the video poster caused the glitch in their own game, unless they were intentionally trying to deceive us. If this was a genuine attempt to spread awareness of a glitch, it's more likely to be some sort of piracy issue. It could be the R4, the ROM, or the micro SD card failing. Outside of this person just telling us what happened, we'll probably never know for sure. Let me know which side you fall on in the comments, as well as any other questions you might have about this whole ordeal. This video was the result of almost 2 months of research, and that's mostly because I desperately wanted a satisfying conclusion. I was hoping I could say, here is exactly what this person did to experience this glitch. But instead, we'll probably never have a concrete answer. It's possible the answer was on the internet at some point, like in those Nico Nico comments, but those are gone forever. Stuff like this honestly makes me upset that I didn't get into this type of archiving and research sooner. I feel this pressure to look into everything I possibly can now before it's too late. And hopefully I can document as much as I can for all of you. I think the most fascinating part of this situation is the fact that it didn't get busted for so long. The Japanese community was significantly more skeptical of this glitch, but I didn't see any posts really addressing it after 2009. The obvious explanation to it not being caught sooner is it being a supposedly Japanese exclusive glitch. That made it hard for international players to verify it back in the day, but it's definitely a less limiting factor nowadays. Like for this video, I bought a Japanese complete in-box copy of Platinum for only $38. Nonetheless, it is still a hurdle. Maybe it didn't get called out sooner because it's, well, risky. This video is risky. If someone tries this glitch on their own and it doesn't happen, they'll just assume it's a rare glitch and carry on with their life. I, on the other hand, decided to spend 2 months of my life making a YouTube video about it. What if I'm wrong and everyone yells at me? What if I miss something? What if there's some insane 1 in a million bug that causes this glitch in some inconceivable way? These thoughts kept popping up in my head and honestly made me kind of dread working on this video. As I researched more and more, I realized that I would actually be very happy to be wrong. Being wrong means that someone actually solved the mystery, and we can finally have answers for this incredibly bizarre situation. If that doesn't happen, then I'm glad I made this video so we can at least have some likely answers. I want to give an extra big shout out to my patrons. I would not have been able to get quality translations and other materials required for this video without their support. Special shoutouts to Forio, Mithra Was Taken, Veroda, and Fuzzy Hugs for your support. If you would also like to support my research and archiving efforts, while also getting some behind-the-scenes content, you can check me out at patreon.com/etchy. Quick thanks to AbsolBlogs Pokemon for tipping me off about this glitch not working, and to Refined Plat for talking me through a bunch of stuff. That's going to be it for this video. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.